Well, good afternoon. This is Wallace Long again. This is another segment of our leadership, a mini-series, and I have something to really share with you that's kind of interesting, a little unusual. You know, people are always talking about the results they achieve and why they achieve them in their business and all that stuff. Let me start out by telling you something very simple, something very direct. Your culture determines your results, period. I get a little pushback on that now and then, but let me tell you a little story about one of my friends, not a client, a friend, in Atlanta. George is a great guy, but he's a little, well, let me put it mildly and say he's at loose ends most of the time. You know, his house is a mess. He never cuts his grass. He doesn't balance his checkbook. He might show up on time, he may not show up on time. He's just always kind of up in the air. And he owns a dry cleaners. And guess what? That's the way he operates his dry cleaners. It's always a little disheveled, not real neat and clean, all of that stuff. And he's never really on top of things. Well, I was in Atlanta. This dry cleaners is in Atlanta. I'll be very non-specific about this in case there are any of my Atlanta buddies out there looking. But he lives in Atlanta, and his dry cleaners is in Atlanta. And I was in Atlanta, I guess about a year and a half ago, giving a presentation. I think it was a Wednesday afternoon. I was due to leave on Friday at the airport there in Atlanta at about 10 o'clock, I think. And so I said, I need to get some laundry done. I need to get some shirts fixed, some pants dry cleaned before I hit the trail again. So I said, I'll just buzz by George's Laundry and Dry Cleaners and see if he can help me out. So I did. Buzzed by his dry cleaners, walked in. There was a front end clerk there. And I said, hey, listen, it's about noon, a little afternoon on Thursday. If I give these to you, is it possible to get them out on Friday morning before I leave Atlanta? I've got to catch a plane at 10. If I whiz by here at 7 o'clock when you open up, do you think this will be ready and I can get out of town? The front end clerk says, yeah, that's fine. Show up at 7. We'll have your laundry for you, your dry cleaning for you. Friday morning, you can get it and be on your way. No sweat. Beautiful. So I finished my day Thursday. Got up, got packed, got all my stuff together, and I was going to slide by the dry cleaners on the way to the airport, make it a quick trip. So they're supposed to open up at 7, so I got there at about 5 till 7. Okay. Well, guess what? When I pulled into the parking lot, I noticed that the lights were out. There didn't appear to be anyone in the building. You can see in most laundries on the front end. Didn't see any activity. And because when I was a kid, I worked in a dry cleaners, I knew, something, they may be around in the back firing up the boilers or getting everything ready for the day, so I'll walk back here and see what's going on. So I did, walked around behind the building. Nobody's there. 7 o'clock. They're supposed to be open. Okay. I got it, so I went back, sat down in my car for a few minutes, looked at my watch, 7:10. Nobody there. I'm thinking, well, I hope somebody shows up in a minute. 7:15, nobody there. I started hanging out, worrying, thinking, well, am I going to get my underwear and my pants before I get out of town, or what? 7:20, nobody there. So I was just about to give up on my underwear when all of a sudden, this lady comes flying through the parking lot in her car, screeches up in front of the store, stops the car, flies, throws the door open, jumps out of the car, runs up to the front door, unlocks it, runs into the dry cleaners, flips on the lights, and disappears in the back. And I'm thinking, okay, I guess they're open now. I guess they're ready to do business. So I walked in the dry cleaners, and the lady finally comes out to the front end, and I give her my name, and she's kind of frustrated and haggard, and she says, okay, here's your laundry. I paid for it and left. I'd been waiting 20 minutes plus or minus for the laundry to open up. So I'm thinking to myself, George is a friend of mine. Do you think I should call him and let him know what's going on in his laundry? I don't know. I decided I needed to call George. So when I got back up to Chicago a couple of days later, I called George and said, George, hey, how's it going? He said, great. I said, listen, I was at your laundry the other day. I needed some dry cleaning done, and I brought it in and dropped it off. Supposed to pick it up at 7 when you opened up Friday. I got there. I had to wait 20 minutes before somebody showed up to open your place up. George says, you know something? This is the third time that's happened to me in the last 12 months. I'm going to have to fire another front-end clerk and find somebody that knows what they're doing. How about that, George? Here's my question for you. Does George have a staff problem, or does he have a cultural problem? Let's think about that a minute. George has a cultural problem because he sets the tone, he sets the standard, he sets the experiences that all of his team becomes familiar with. When they experience that goofy way George runs his laundry, they believe that they can operate goofy too. So they do. And guess what? They believe they can operate in a non-professional fashion. So guess what? When they take action, their action is not appropriate, which means their results, in this case, the lady showing up late to open up the store, is always messed up. So here's what happens with most organizations. They fire the front-end clerk and get a new one. They may talk to her a little bit. They may reprimand her for being late, etc. But their culture determines the behavior of their front-end clerk. Not necessarily George exclusively. Get this part. It's everybody that's adopted the standard in his business that's a reflection of George's mentality. This is important to understand. So, your culture determines your results. If you want different results, you have to look at the things that push your culture, the experiences you expose your team to, the beliefs that those experiences instill in their thinking, the actions that those beliefs create, and the results that your customers, your team is experiencing. So, we have to focus on the things that create our culture. Your culture determines your results. If you're getting poor results, it's not about probably that guy or gal over there that's doing things wrong. It could very possibly relate to your entire cultural perspective. So let's do this. Let's start thinking about the things in your organization that create the culture that your team experiences. I have a big recommendation for you. I make this recommendation to all of my clients, so it doesn't matter whether they own large corporations or a small mom and pop business. Buy the book, Change the Culture, Change the Game by Rogers and Connors. Get it and read it. It'll help you change the standard in your business, and you'll begin thinking differently about your results. It's just not about firing someone. Hey, you guys have a good day. If I can be of assistance, give me a buzz. See you later. Have a great weekend. Greetings, it's Wallace again. Hey, listen, got a little info for you. If you like what you've seen, hey, subscribe to our YouTube channel. I think it will help you tremendously. Give us a buzz. Send us an email. Hey, send up a smoke signal, whatever. Call us. But the main thing I want to do is to help you and your organization and your team get out of pain. Stop suffering in silence. Give us a buzz. Love to chat with you a bit. Have a great day.